Have you ever chased a feeling of happiness, only to find it slips through your fingers like sand? You reach a goal, acquire something new, and for a moment joy sparks. But then it fades, leaving you searching again. This relentless pursuit can be exhausting, making us wonder if true, lasting happiness is even possible in our often chaotic lives. What if the secret isn't about chasing fleeting moments at all? We experience flashes of joy, excitement, and contentment. These are precious, of course, but are they the same as a deep, abiding happiness? The kind that anchors you, even when storms rage. Many of us confuse these temporary emotional highs with the profound well-being we truly seek. This confusion can lead us down paths that promise fulfillment but deliver only fleeting satisfaction. The quest for enduring happiness isn't new. For millennia, thinkers and seekers have wrestled with this fundamental human yearning. They looked beyond the superficial, searching for principles that could guide us toward a more stable and meaningful existence. Imagine ancient scholars poring over texts by candlelight, debating the very nature of a life well lived. Their wisdom, buried in time, still holds immense power. One such towering figure from ancient Greece, Aristotle, offered a revolutionary perspective on happiness. He wasn't interested in quick fixes or superficial pleasures. Instead, he delved into the very essence of human existence to uncover what truly makes a life not just happy, but flourishing. His insights, developed over 2,000 years ago, provide a timeless map to a more profound contentment. So, what is this ancient Greek secret to lasting happiness that Aristotle unveiled? It's a path that requires more than passive wishing. It calls for active engagement with life. It's about cultivating something within ourselves that external circumstances cannot easily shake. Prepare to explore a definition of happiness that might just change the way you see everything. What if the happiness we've been conditioned to seek, that constant state of feeling good, is a misunderstanding? Aristotle proposed a different idea. He suggested that true happiness isn't merely a fleeting emotion or a reaction to good fortune. It's something far deeper, more resilient, and entirely more within our control than we often believe. Aristotle used a specific Greek word for this profound state, eudaimonia, eudaimonia. This single word encapsulates a concept so rich that no single English word can perfectly capture it. It's often translated as happiness or flourishing, but it implies much more than just feeling pleasant. It speaks to the ultimate aim of human life. Think of eudaimonia not just as being happy, but as living well and doing well. It's about thriving, like a well-tended plant reaching its fullest potential. It's a state of human flourishing that encompasses success, fulfillment, and living a life rich in meaning and purpose. This is a far cry from simply chasing pleasurable sensations. Crucially, eudaimonia is not a passive state you simply fall into. Aristotle emphasized that it is an activity of the soul in accordance with virtue. This means it's something you do, something you cultivate through your actions, choices, and the way you live your life day by day. It's an ongoing practice, not a final destination. Achieving eudaimonia, therefore, isn't a weekend project or a quick fix. Aristotle viewed it as the work of a complete life. This might sound daunting, but it's also empowering. It means that every day presents an opportunity to move closer to this state of flourishing, to build a life of genuine substance and enduring contentment, piece by piece. Imagine a master gardener tending to a rare and precious plant. They don't just hope it grows, they provide the right soil, water, and light. Similarly, eudaimonia requires us to cultivate the soil of our character and consistently engage in actions that nourish our human plant. It's about creating the conditions for our own flourishing through conscious effort. This ancient understanding of happiness frees us from the pressure to be constantly blissful. Eudaimonia doesn't mean a life devoid of pain or sadness. Challenges are inevitable. Instead, it refers to an underlying state of well-being and meaning that can persist even amidst life's difficulties, like a strong ship navigating stormy seas. Embracing the path to eudaimonia means embracing the full spectrum of human experience. It acknowledges that growth often comes from overcoming adversity, and wisdom from reflecting on our mistakes. It's about finding meaning not just in the peaks, but also in the valleys, and knowing that our inner state can remain strong regardless of external turbulence. So this secret Aristotle offers is about building a deeper, more stable foundation for your well-being. It's less about the fleeting weather of emotions and more about the bedrock of your character and the purposeful direction of your life. This kind of happiness is earned, cultivated, and ultimately far more satisfying than anything superficial. This concept of eudaimonia, flourishing through virtuous activity, is the very heart of Aristotle's secret to lasting happiness. It shifts the focus from external seeking to internal cultivation. It's a call to become the best version of ourselves, living a life of excellence and purpose. But how, practically, do we embark on this journey? If eudaimonia is flourishing, how do we achieve it? Aristotle's answer is clear: through virtue. The Greek word is ari, which means excellence. It's not just about being good in a passive sense, but about actively excelling in the art of being human, fulfilling our highest potential. Virtue is the pathway, the very substance of a flourishing life. Arete, or virtue, for Aristotle, wasn't confined to just moral goodness. It encompassed a broader idea of excellence in any specific function. A virtuous knife is one that cuts excellently. A virtuous eye is one that sees clearly. Therefore, a virtuous human is one who performs their distinctively human functions excellently. So what is our distinctively human function according to Aristotle? It is to live in accordance with reason. Excelling at being human, therefore, means using our capacity for reason to guide our actions, to make good choices, and to understand the world and our place within it. This is the highest form of human excellence. Aristotle identified two main categories of virtues, or excellences, that we need to cultivate: moral virtues and intellectual virtues. Both are essential for a flourishing life. Moral virtues guide our actions and emotions, while intellectual virtues guide our thinking and understanding. One without the other is incomplete. Moral virtues are those qualities of character that enable us to act well in different situations. Think of courage, enabling us to face fear; temperance, helping us moderate our desires; generosity, guiding us in giving and receiving; and justice, ensuring fairness in our dealings with others. These are states of character expressed through our habitual actions. Consider courage. It's not the absence of fear, but the ability to act rightly despite fear. A courageous person understands the danger but chooses to face it for a worthy cause. This virtue is cultivated by repeatedly facing smaller fears, building the strength of character to act well when greater challenges arise. Or take temperance, the virtue of moderation. It's about finding balance in our appetites and pleasures, not being ruled by them. It's not about total denial, but about enjoying things in a way that supports our overall well-being and doesn't detract from our higher goals. This requires self-awareness and self-control, developed over time. Intellectual virtues, on the other hand, pertain to our capacity for reason and understanding. These include Sophia, or theoretical wisdom, understanding fundamental truths about the universe, and Phronses, or practical wisdom, the ability to deliberate well about what is good and expedient for life overall. Both are crucial for good judgment. Practical wisdom, or Phronses, is particularly important for living well. It's the master virtue that helps us discern the right way to act in specific situations. It's like an internal compass, guiding us to apply moral virtues appropriately, finding the right path between extremes. This wisdom isn't just learned from books, it's honed through experience. Crucially, Aristotle believed these virtues are not innate. We are not born courageous or just. Rather, they are acquired through practice and habit. Just as a musician becomes skilled by playing an instrument, we become virtuous by performing virtuous actions. We learn by doing. This puts the power of character development firmly in our hands. Imagine a craftsman honing their skill over many years. Each precise cut, each careful measurement contributes to their mastery. Cultivating virtue is similar. Each choice to act with honesty, kindness, or self-discipline is like a craftsman's stroke, shaping our character into something strong, beautiful, and excellent. It's a dedicated, active process. Virtue, for Aristotle, ultimately becomes a heksis, a state of character, a disposition. It's not just about isolated good deeds, but about developing an ingrained tendency to feel, choose, and act in ways that are excellent. When virtue becomes part of who you are, living a flourishing life becomes more natural and consistent. Every day, we are faced with choices, big and small. Each choice is an opportunity to practice a virtue or its opposite. Over time, these choices accumulate, like threads weaving a tapestry. The pattern that emerges is our character. Aristotle reminds us that we are the primary weavers of this inner tapestry. So the path to eudaimonia, that deep and lasting happiness, is paved with virtuous actions. It's not a mystical secret, but a practical commitment to becoming a person of excellent character. By focusing on cultivating virtues like courage, temperance, wisdom, and justice, we actively build the foundations of a truly flourishing life. Each virtue, whether moral or intellectual, plays its part in the symphony of a well-lived life. Like different instruments in an orchestra, they work together to create a harmonious and beautiful whole. The aim is not to perfect one in isolation, but to cultivate a balanced and integrated character that excels in all aspects of being human. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This famous insight, often attributed to Aristotle, underscores the profound importance of consistent action. Lasting happiness, eudaimonia, isn't found in a single grand gesture, but in the small, repeated efforts to live virtuously. Our habits define us and shape our destiny. Remember, Aristotle described eudaimonia as an activity. It's not a passive state of being or a prize to be won and then kept on a shelf. It's a dynamic process of living, of engaging with the world in a particular way, a way guided by reason and virtue. Happiness is therefore found in the active pursuit of excellence, not after it. Just as performing acts of kindness can make you a kinder person, engaging in courageous actions makes you more courageous. Virtuous actions, when repeated, gradually shape our desires, our emotions, and our character. We literally become better people through the consistent practice of doing good things. The power of habit formation is immense. Habits are the invisible architecture of our daily lives. By consciously choosing to build habits aligned with virtue, habits of discipline, reflection, kindness, learning, we create an upward spiral that supports our journey towards flourishing. This takes intention and persistence. Don't feel overwhelmed by the idea of transforming your entire character overnight. The key is to start with small, consistent actions. Choose one virtue you wish to cultivate. Then, identify one small, manageable action you can repeat daily that embodies that virtue. Tiny habits, compounded over time, lead to significant change. Initially, forming new, virtuous habits can feel like swimming upstream. Our old patterns and comforts resist, but with persistence, the new pathway becomes easier. The brain actually rewires itself. What once required conscious effort becomes more automatic, more natural. This is the journey from conscious action to ingrained character. Think of an archer aiming for a distant target. They don't hit the bull's on their first try, nor with every shot. But with each practice arrow, they refine their aim, adjust their stance, and build their skill. Similarly, living virtuously is a practice. Some days we hit the mark, other days we learn from our misses. Each day offers a fresh canvas, a new opportunity to practice living in accordance with the virtues you value. When you wake up, you can ask yourself, how can I embody courage today? How can I practice temperance or wisdom? This intentional approach transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for growth and flourishing. There is an intrinsic reward in acting virtuously, a deep sense of rightness and integrity that comes from aligning your actions with your highest values. This internal satisfaction is far more robust and meaningful than fleeting external pleasures. It's the quiet joy of knowing you are striving to be your best self. Ultimately, living in accordance with virtue means that your actions, your thoughts, and your very being are harmonized with excellence. This isn't about rigid adherence to rules, but a flexible, wise engagement with life, guided by a well-cultivated character. This active, virtuous living is Aristotle's eudaimonia in practice. But how do we know what a virtuous action looks like in any given situation? How do we avoid extremes? Aristotle offers a practical guide, the golden mean. He proposed that virtue typically lies as a mean or a balance between two extremes, both of which are vices. One is a vice of deficiency, the other of excess. Finding this golden mean is key to virtuous action. It's not about being average or mediocre. Rather, it's about hitting the mark, the sweet spot, the appropriate response in a specific context. This requires discernment, emotional intelligence, and practical wisdom, phronses, which we discussed earlier. Consider courage again. The deficiency is cowardice, failing to act when one should. The excess is recklessness or rashness, acting with foolhardy abandon without regard for genuine danger. Courage, the virtue, is the mean, facing danger with reason, for the right cause in the right way. Let's take generosity. The vice of deficiency is stinginess and unwillingness to give. The vice of excess is extravagance or wastefulness, giving too much, too often, or to the wrong people. Generosity, the virtue, lies in giving the right amount to the right people at the right time for the right reasons. A delicate balance indeed. It's crucial to understand that the golden mean is not a mathematical average. It's not about finding a bland middle ground that pleases no one. Instead, it is the peak of excellence, the optimal point of functioning. It's like an artist mixing colors to achieve the perfect hue, not just a muddy gray. Discerning this mean in complex situations requires that intellectual virtue of phronses, or practical wisdom. It's the ability to perceive the nuances of a situation, to understand the relevant factors, and to make a sound judgment about the appropriate course of action. This wisdom grows with experience and reflection. Furthermore, Aristotle emphasized that the mean is relative to us. What constitutes courage for a trained soldier might be recklessness for an untrained civilian. What is generous for a wealthy person might be extravagant for someone with modest means. The mean adapts to the individual and their specific circumstances. Finding the golden mean is therefore a delicate art, not a rigid science. It requires self-awareness, sensitivity to context, and a willingness to learn from our mistakes. It's a continuous process of adjustment and refinement, like a navigator constantly checking their course to stay true. The challenge, then, is to strive for this equilibrium in all areas of our lives, in our emotions, our desires, our actions, and our relationships. By constantly aiming for this balanced excellence, we avoid the pitfalls of extreme behaviors that lead to unhappiness and regret, cultivating instead a stable inner harmony. This pursuit of the golden mean is not about restriction, but about liberation. It frees us from the tyranny of unchecked impulses and the paralysis of fear. It guides us towards a path of moderation and wisdom, leading to a more serene, effective, and ultimately, a more flourishing existence, the core of Aristotle's lasting happiness. Aristotle believed that everything in nature has a purpose, a function, or an end towards which it strives. He called this its telos. A knife's telos is to cut well. An acorn's telos is to become an oak tree. Understanding this concept is crucial for understanding his view of human happiness. What then is our unique human telos? If a knife fulfills its purpose when it cuts excellently, it is considered a good knife. If an eye sees clearly, fulfilling its function, it is a good eye. Similarly, a human being achieves their good, their eudaimonia, when they fulfill their unique human function excellently. But what is that function? Aristotle argues that the unique function of human beings, what distinguishes us from plants and other animals, is our capacity for reason. We are rational beings. Therefore, our telos, our ultimate purpose, is to live a life guided by reason, and to do so excellently. This is the core of a truly human life. So for Aristotle, the good life for a human being is an activity of the soul, our rational faculty, in accordance with virtue excellence. Living purposefully means consciously using our reason to guide our choices, to cultivate virtues, and to strive for excellence in all that we, as humans, are uniquely capable of. This means engaging our highest capacities, our intellect, our ability to make moral choices, our creativity, our capacity for deep relationships and contemplation. It's about not just existing, but truly living, by actualizing our full human potential. This active engagement with our rational nature is fundamental to eudaimonia. Living with an understanding of our telos means living a life of meaning and intention. It's about asking ourselves, what am I striving for? How can I use my unique human abilities to contribute and to grow? This infuses even ordinary activities with a sense of purpose, connecting them to a larger vision of a flourishing life. When we live in accordance with our natural purpose, to reason well and act virtuously, we naturally move towards flourishing. It's like a plant given the right conditions. It inherently grows towards the light. Aligning our lives with our human telos creates an intrinsic sense of rightness and fulfillment. Reflect on what it means for you to live in accordance with reason and virtue. What are your unique strengths and talents? How can you use them to make a positive impact, to learn, to grow, and to contribute to the good of yourself and others? Identifying these personal aspects of your telos can be a powerful motivator. When our daily actions, big or small, are consciously connected to this deeper sense of purpose, to our human telos, they gain significance. Work is no longer just a job, but an opportunity to excel. Learning is not a chore, but a way to engage our reason. Relationships become avenues for practicing virtue. This is where deep and lasting satisfaction lies, not in the endless chase for external rewards, but in the profound fulfillment that comes from living a life true to our nature, a life of purpose, reason, and excellence. This, Aristotle suggests, is the bedrock of genuine, enduring happiness. A common question arises: what about external goods? Things like wealth, health, good fortune, friends, and a good reputation. Does Aristotle dismiss these as unimportant for happiness? Not entirely. He was a realist and acknowledged that certain external goods can indeed contribute to a flourishing life. Aristotle recognized that it is difficult to live virtuously and achieve eudaimonia if one is suffering from extreme deprivation or constant misfortune. For example, it's hard to be generous if you have nothing, or to engage in noble acts if you are constantly ill or oppressed. Some level of external well-being is helpful. External goods, for Aristotle, are best seen as tools or resources that can facilitate virtuous activity. Wealth can provide the means for generosity or for leisure to pursue knowledge. Good health allows us the energy to act. Friends provide companionship and opportunities to practice virtues like loyalty and kindness. However, and this is crucial, Aristotle insisted that these external goods are not the source or essence of eudaimonia. They are secondary. True happiness, lasting flourishing, comes primarily from within, from the state of one's character and the activity of living virtuously. External goods are desirable, but not sufficient. One can possess all the wealth, health, and status in the world, and still be miserable if their character is flawed, and their life lacks virtue and purpose. Conversely, someone with modest external means but a strong, virtuous character can achieve a profound level of eudaimonia. The foundation is always internal. For Aristotle, while all virtuous activity contributes to eudaimonia, There is one activity he considered the highest and most complete form of human happiness: contemplation. This is the activity of the intellect, using our reason to understand the highest truths, the eternal and unchanging principles of the universe. Contemplation, or theoria, involves pursuing knowledge for its own sake, engaging in philosophical and scientific inquiry, and reflecting on the nature of reality, the divine, and the good. This, Aristotle believed, is the activity that most fully engages our uniquely human capacity for reason and is most akin to the divine. A life that includes significant time for contemplation and intellectual pursuits was, for Aristotle, the most self-sufficient and godlike life a human could achieve. It is less dependent on external goods than other activities and brings a pure and enduring kind of pleasure, the joy of understanding. This doesn't mean everyone must be a full-time philosopher. Rather, it suggests the importance of cultivating our intellectual curiosity, engaging in lifelong learning, and making space for deep reflection in our lives. Finding joy in the pursuit of wisdom itself is a key component of Aristotelian happiness. The capacity for contemplation, to marvel at the universe and seek understanding, is a profound gift. Nurturing this aspect of ourselves, alongside our moral virtues, completes the picture of a truly flourishing human life according to Aristotle. It connects us to something larger than ourselves and offers a uniquely stable form of joy. So how can we take this profound ancient wisdom from Aristotle and apply it to our busy modern lives? The principles of eudaimonia, virtue, the golden mean, and telos are timeless. They offer a practical roadmap, not a rigid set of rules, for cultivating lasting happiness today. Begin by choosing one virtue you genuinely wish to cultivate. Perhaps it's patience, or honesty, or courage, or greater discipline. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. Focus your intention on this single area. Write it down. Make it a conscious point of focus for the coming weeks. Next, reflect on what the golden mean for that chosen virtue looks like in your life. What would be the extremes of deficiency and excess? For example, if you chose patience, what does impatience look like for you, deficiency? And what might an unhealthy passivity look like, excess? Journaling about this can bring clarity. Now identify small, concrete actions you can take each day to practice this virtue, aiming for that golden mean. If it's courage, perhaps it's speaking up in a meeting. If it's temperance, perhaps it's choosing a healthier meal. These small acts, repeated consistently, build the habit and strengthen the character. Keep a simple journal of your efforts. Note when you succeeded in acting virtuously and also when you fell short. Crucially, reflect on WHY. What triggered the less-than-ideal response? What could you do differently next time? This reflective practice is key to developing practical wisdom, phronses. Aristotle also emphasized the importance of good company, philia, or friendship. Seek out friends and mentors who also value virtue and strive for personal growth. Meaningful conversations and mutual encouragement can profoundly support your journey. We are social creatures, and good relationships are vital for flourishing. Take some time to reflect on your unique purpose, or telos. What are your innate talents and passions? How can you use your rational capacities to contribute something meaningful to the world, or to your community, or even just within your own life? Living with this sense of purpose provides deep motivation. Remember, this journey towards eudaimonia is not about achieving perfection. That is an illusion. It is about consistent effort, about progress, not perfection. Be kind to yourself. There will be setbacks. The key is to learn from them and keep striving, keep practicing, keep growing. The true beauty of Aristotle's philosophy is that the flourishing is in the striving. The happiness is found in the active engagement with life, in the daily practice of virtue, in the pursuit of wisdom and purpose. The journey itself, lived consciously and well, is the destination. This ancient wisdom invites a profound shift in perspective. From the frantic, external chase for fleeting feelings of happiness, to the steady, internal cultivation of a virtuous character and a purposeful life. This is a more stable, resilient, and ultimately, a more deeply satisfying way to live. So the ancient Greek secret to lasting happiness, as unveiled by Aristotle, is not a hidden trick or a complex formula. It is eudaimonia, a state of human flourishing achieved through living a life of active virtue, guided by reason, and aligned with a deeply felt purpose. It's a happiness that is not dependent on the whims of fortune, but is built day by day through the choices we make and the character we cultivate. It is robust, resilient, and deeply fulfilling because it stems from the full and excellent expression of our human nature. This path isn't always easy. It requires self-reflection, discipline, and courage. But it offers something far more valuable than momentary pleasure. It offers a life of meaning, integrity, and profound, enduring well-being. It's a way of living that resonates with our deepest aspirations for a life well lived. The incredible power of Aristotle's insight is that it places the potential for this profound happiness squarely within your reach. It's not out there somewhere, waiting to be found. It's in here, waiting to be cultivated through your thoughts, your choices, and your actions, starting today. As you go about your day, consider this. What one small step, inspired by this ancient wisdom, can you take towards cultivating your own eudaimonia, your own lasting happiness and flourishing? The journey of 1,000 miles, after all, begins with a single, intentional step. Choose yours wisely.